Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show. I have another First Impressions podcast episode for you, this time focusing on a bunch of independent books. So non-DC this time, non-Marvel, because Marvel doesn't really have anything new at the moment that I am reading, but these independent publishers do. And so I have the first one here.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
This is Onyx from IDW. This is, I believe, a 4-issue miniseries, and I've read the first issue. This is by Chris Ryall and Gabriel Rodriguez. They're listed as the storytellers. I believe Ryall is the writer and Rodriguez is the artist. With colors by Jay Fotos and letters by Sean Lee. I first heard about this book at Emerald City Comic Con 2015, and they were talking about how they wanted to get more books out that were more superhero related. So this is their one of those. This is about an alien who comes to Earth to battle this planet spore that destroyed her planet. And she teams up with, or more accurately, puts up with a team of military folks who are investigating the planet spore themselves. So this is kind of like a cross between Rom the Space Knight and Exo Man of War, because obviously because the alien comes to Earth to fight other aliens essentially, and she does so in this suit of armor that does fantastic things. And so what happens is the spore gets to a planet and then infects it, and it mutates animals and plants in the surrounding area and eventually basically kills the planet. And that's what happened to Onyx, who is the alien that I mentioned. She is from the planet Pelamosa, which is located in the Cygnus constellation, which is, that's, depending on the star, that could be thousands of light years away. Among the military folks, this is, I believe I don't know if we know a year here. Yes, we do. It's set in the year 2083, so almost 80 years in our future. And so this group of military folks are part of the International Global Defense Army team. This is Team Avon. And it's a diverse bunch of people. There are 4 women and 4 men in this group. One of the women she's part of the PsyOps division, and so she basically can hear thoughts. She has this inhibitor on her head to help, I guess, help her cope and help keep the chatter out, but it doesn't quite work, as we see in a few scenes. So she's one of the more interesting of the human characters here. The Onyx herself is pretty much just driven by her mission, and like I said, tolerates the humans. The mutations are kind of neat. Here you get basically larger sized creatures. They have usually most of them have many eyes. They grow extra limbs, and they're just ferocious and attack anything that moves essentially. There's a tree frog that is gigantic and attacks them. Six-eyed, I want to say, 6-limbed leopard, snakes and crocodiles, all the fun stuff that I wouldn't want to ever encounter normally, let alone mutated versions of them. So, it was okay. It was a good book. Good book to pass the time, I guess. It's only, like I said, I think it's only 4 issues. So, it's not much of an investment in terms of time and money. So it was okay. From Archie Comics, the all-new, it actually says that on the cover, all-new Archie, #1, by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples. with coloring by Andrei Zemanovich with Jen Vaughn, and lettering by Jack Morelli. So when I heard that they were ending the long-running Archie series and then relaunching it with Mark Waid and Fiona Staples involved, I said, okay, why not? Archie Comics is probably the comics that I remember reading first before anything else, even though my love of superhero comics is what got me started collecting comics. I think I read Archie comics even before that. Or maybe it was concurrently. It's been so long now, I really don't remember. But I wanted to try it out, mostly because of the people that are involved. And I have to say, it was an interesting read. It was a fun read, getting to know these characters all over again. Think of this as Archie rebooted, because the way the book starts out is Archie's basically talking to us, so breaking the fourth wall there. But there's a bit of drama because long-term girlfriend Betty and he have broken up, which for me is really sad, because I've always been a Archie and Betty fan over Archie and Veronica. And the way that Fiona Staples draws Betty she's so damn cute. But I have to say, as much as I love Fiona Staples' art, especially in Saga, there's not much difference here in terms of the style. It's obviously Fiona Staples' style. And the characters look enough like what I think of as the Archie characters, but with a few cosmetic changes, these could be characters from Saga as well. Still, not bad art at all, because Fiona Staples draws the hell out of anything. Anyway, the bulk of the comic, however, is Archie basically getting us up to speed as to what's going on. They don't really delve into why he and Betty have broken up. There is something called the lipstick incident, but both Betty and Archie have sworn not to speak of it. And they both remain loyal to each other in terms of, people are trying to figure out what's going on. Did Archie cheat on you? What did Betty do? And they both refuse to lower themselves to that kind of a blame game, which I really liked, actually. Anyway, their friends try to get them back together by concocting this scheme to rig the homecoming dance, I think it is, and get Betty and Archie selected as king and queen of the prom. Of course, Jughead wants nothing to do with that and devises his own plan, and then later chastises one of the girls, whose name I can't remember now, for coming up with the original plan. Because, as Jughead says, wouldn't it be better, instead of forcing them together, to remind them what it is that they're both missing? And the issue ends with Archie heading off back home after the prom, after stepping in, subbing for the guitarist for this band. Again, Jughead made it happen that the guitarist for the band wasn't able to show up, so Archie stepped in and played and surprised not only himself but a lot of the people at the dance as to how good he is, thus drawing the attention of some other females. And he walks home after he's done, and there's a big sign for Veronica's father, for Lodge Industries, coming soon to transform Riverdale. And then the dialogue box at the very end with Archie walking by this says, maybe there's some amazing new girl just around the corner, ... Gee, who could that be? It was cute, like I said, and they also did a reprint of Archie's first appearance from Pep Comics number 22. Now, I'd never read that, so it was really interesting to go back to the very first appearance from 1941 and these characters are barely recognizable, other than Archie has red hair in both. He wanted people to call him Chick, and he was a bit of a clumsy daredevil, but still trying to impress Betty. Veronica's not in this first one. So originally I was thinking that I would be reading this comic for the first arc. I know that Fiona Staples committed to doing the first arc, and I think that was it. But I heard an interview with Mark Waid, and he indicated that he wanted to be on this book for as long as possible. So I don't know. Like I said, I started reading Archie comics a long time ago. I'd never kept up with it, never been a real big fan of Archie comics. I don't know that I would continue with this if Fiona wasn't on it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Grant Morrison is back with a new series called 18 Days. This is from Graphic India, with art by Jeevan J. Kang, letters by Aditya Bidikar. Boy, I apologize in advance for the name pronunciations. Okay, so this is Grant Morrison's take on Indian mythology, and a good chunk of this issue is just basically talking about how the world ends, so the disaster myth, and how the world is at the end days essentially. And only the army of the the Pandavas brothers and their allies against the Kauravas. Boy, again, I hope I'm somewhat close to the pronunciations. And that's pretty much it for this first issue. There's not a lot of meat to this. It's just a lot of exposition, getting us set up for what is to come, this war that is to come. I've already forgotten their name. The Pandavas have an ally in the form of the living god Krishna, but one of the Kauravas folks laughs about this because Krishna, while is a god who has vowed not to fight. And the next issue blurb at the bottom of the last page says the Pandavas raised the white flag, so that kind of tells you how things go. I don't know what to say beyond that. I would not have picked this up if Grant Morrison was not involved, but so far this does not read like a typical Grant Morrison book. He does have a text blurb in the back, kind of explaining the reasoning behind, or at least his interest in this new book, this new story. I can't, unless something improves dramatically, this might be one of those Grant Morrison books that I just don't really care for, and I'm not going to continue with. At least that's my first impression anyway. Let's go back to another miniseries. This is from Boom Studios. This is a 4-issue miniseries called Strange Fruit. This is by J.G. Jones and Mark Waid. Mark Waid back again on a book. Lettering by Darren Bennett. So this is a painted work from J.G. Jones. It is set in 1927 Mississippi. Essentially, it is what if a Superman came down from the heavens in the late 20s South, among the prejudice, the racism, and the Superman character happens to look like a black man. Other than that, so that basically happens at the end of the story, and what's going on is that there is a lot of rain and the area is flooding, and so the white folk in the area basically go and try to conscript their black neighbors to help them build sandbags and keep the river from flooding. And that's when the guy comes, the Superman arrives. There's also a near lynching. The KKK is in the story. They are basically after one of these black men, and that's when the Superman arrives. He basically fends them off very easily, and he arrives naked, and the guy that he saves hands him a Confederate flag to drape around his midsection. As he says, "Them white folks really ain't gonna like that." Yeah, I imagine not. So there's a lot of criticism going around about this book, about two white creators telling a story about black characters set in the South, amongst the racism. The N-word is used a lot in this story, which made me uncomfortable reading it. So I was actually quite excited about this book, just because of who's involved and telling this a Superman-like story being retold in that setting. I thought would be an interesting read. It looks beautiful. J.G. Jones's art is gorgeous. I don't know where the story is going, though. Let me rephrase that. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this character that's come from the heavens, and I'm not sure where it's going to end up, I guess. I guess I'll have to read issue number 2. It's, like I said, it's only a 4-issue series. I do plan to get all of them. From the South, we go north. This is Brian K. Vaughan's new book, We Stand on Guard. This has Steve Scroce on art. Matt Hollingsworth is the colorist, and Phonographics is doing the lettering and design. This is this is set in the future too, like Onyx. A little bit further in the future, it's 2124 is the main timeline, but the book really opens in 2112, 12 years earlier, in Ottawa, Ontario, and essentially America starts bombing Canada. We invade Canada. There's a suggestion that it's about water. Canada has it and we want it for some reason. I don't know why. But it does follow a character named Amber, who was a little girl 12 years earlier at the opening of the story. And here she is in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, 12 years later. She's hunting, I think it's an elk of some sort. Don't ask me. I don't know that kind of stuff. I may be from Idaho, but I never got into the hunting. Anyway, she's attacked by an American drone, a dog of war, they call it. She gets rescued by these freedom fighters called, they're part of the group 2-4, or at least that's their unit name. They talk, and in fact, there's a Superman connection here. She's injured in the attack from the American dog of war, and one of the guys is performing triage on her injury, and she notices that he has a Superman symbol tattoo on his arm, and she's like, what the hell? Because she thinks of Superman as truth, justice, and the American way, and so she doesn't like that. And he's like, no, let me explain. So the original artist of the Superman comics was from Canada. So as he says, Superman's a mother effing Canadian. And then that moment is interrupted by this huge. They call it a gorilla, but it's like think of the Imperial walkers from Star Wars, only bigger. I think anyway, but it reminds me of that. So they want to bag this thing. So again, it's supposed to be this unmanned drone walking around Canada, I guess, looking for the freedom fighters. I suppose it's huge. This thing is huge. Anyway, they do end up taking this thing down. And then they're trying to get inside of it to get some more information, get some tech, I suppose. Anyway, they learn that it's not unmanned. There is an American soldier in there, and he kills the guy who had the tattoo on his arm. They, of course, want to kill him. In retribution, he surrenders, but they don't care. As one of the resistance fighters comments, "You're not a soldier. You're a home invader." Anyway, one of the other folks in the group says that no, they don't have to put this guy down, but Amber does, to prove that she's not a spy or a collaborator or whatever. And so they start having this debate on this one. It's a one-page debate between some of the characters, and one guy is arguing, it shouldn't be her, it should be us. We have the blood on our hands, and then, bam. Next thing you know, the gun goes off, the guy is dead, and Amber has killed him without hesitation or reservation, apparently. And so Amber becomes a member of the 2-4. It was... I just like the premise of it. America invades Canada, and Canada fights back, because in America, Canada has this reputation of just being, ultra nice to everybody in the world. And so the idea that they would go to war with us, and deservedly so, if we invade Canada, feel free to kick our ass. So I just wanted to get it for that. And also, of course, because it's a Brian K. Vaughan written book. But I have to say, the Steve Scorchy art, with Hollingsworth doing the colors, it looks nice. It's a wonderfully drawn book. Conveys the story well enough. There's lots of outdoor scenery, so that's done really nicely. It looks, it's a good looking book, is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure where it's going to go with this whole idea. Obviously I'm intrigued by why America invaded Canada, but I have a feeling that will not really have a big impact on the overall story. So I'm wondering where this is going to go. Amber's brother that we saw in the opening scene, she mentioned that he was captured by the Americans, so I'm sure that will come into play. And then from there, where do we go? So we'll find out, I guess. Okay, I saved the best for last, and I have to admit I'm cheating a little bit. This is supposed to be a first impressions episode, but I've read 3 issues of this book, but I love it so much I want to talk about it. But I'll try to contain most of my comments about the first issue. We're going back to IDW on this book. This is The Infinite Loop. This is by, and I'm gonna murder these names, so I apologize ahead of time. And I believe they're both French creators. Pierrick Collinet, who is the writer and letterer. But I really want to point out this. Elsa Chartier, I believe, who is the illustrator and does the colors as well. So she's the artist, and she is the reason I love this book. This is I got it because it had to do with time travel, and it's also, it happens to be a love story as well. We follow this red-headed woman named Teddy. She works for this agency of some sort, and she goes around time traveling to eliminate these anomalies that this opposition group, this I don't know if they do. They refer to them as terrorists. That these, like I said, these terrorists, apparently they throw these time anomalies into other eras. So an electric lamp that should not be where it is, or a bicycle, or as in one page shows, a lightsaber. And the text that accompanies this little blurb here is lightsaber a long time ago, far, far away. So that's just indicative of one of the little humorous moments that gets thrown in this comic. But there's so much going on here in terms of the visuals, the way that the pages and the panels are composed. I'll talk about that as I get to them. And it's just the simple lines of the book. It's gorgeous. The art is just gorgeous. It's so wonderful to read. There's so much going on. I'm looking at a page where there's a ton of word balloons going out across the page, but you follow the character Teddy as she walks around this 2-page spread from left to right, going in a clockwise motion. And then you got some panels across the bottom, but there's just so much going on, but you don't get lost. I don't anyway. Oh, and there's a few of these in the issues that I've read. She finds the major anomaly that she's trying to extinguish, get rid of, and it turns out to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex in 1964. Yeah, 1964 in Nevada, in Nye County. So she's found a Roman throne, but she knows that there's something else here, and it turns out to be this Tyrannosaurus Rex that's after her. Anyway, what's on this page as the Tyrannosaurus Rex is bounding towards her is this flow chart of questions and answers. So, will you survive the T-Rex? Is this your first time? Yes, no. And then you follow it down. So yes is run, and then you have yes, no, slide between its legs, or are you a raptor, or Usain Bolt? No, you're dead. Yes, idiot, you're dead. There is most of these choices gets to you're dead, except for the no, slide between its legs, yes. Do you have a hoverboard? Kind of. The Roman throne will be my hoverboard, and that's exactly what she uses it as. Just little things like that are just awesome. There's a bit where she uses this grappling hook that's also an anomaly that she's here to collect. She gets that attached to the Tyrannosaurus Rex's neck, and she swings upwards. And the panels are segmented in kind of an array going around, which is kind of neat. She has a contact somewhere in some central timeline named Ulysses. After she takes care of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, they meet up in 1955 California, having lunch together, and they're just talking about things. Turns out that Teddy is a bit closed off emotionally, because it makes her job easier. She talks about how in their time, how people are done with primitive feelings, done with hatred, and he finishes her sentence for love. She says, "It's for the better. Also, I know you find our time period dull and bleak, but at least it's at peace." And then the next panel is this, it's all black and white except for a bit of color surrounding Ulysses, and he says, "I hope you're right." And so just the black and whiteness of it, emphasizing that bleakness. So it's little things like that visually that Elsa, I'll say Elsa because I don't want to try to pronounce her last name poorly again, does on this. Then she and Teddy go off to have a little bit of fun racing through the timeline. Basically, it's a game of chase, but you get to see all these different timelines and them racing through it until finally she trips and falls. They're sliding down a pyramid in ancient Egypt, and she, like I said, she falls. He catches up to her. They have a little moment. They're facing each other, laughing, and then he tries to kiss her, and she freaks out. It's like, what's wrong with you? And she leaves. Eventually, they do talk again, but again, she talks about primitive feelings and stuff. She's off investigating another anomaly, and Ulysses tells her that the anomaly is less than 6 feet away from her, and she says, "I see it," And he asks, well, are you rectifying it? And it turns out that the anomaly is a purple-haired female. And Teddy is just standing there staring at her, and she is staring at Teddy. It's just this shock moment. And the last page is kind of a splash page. It's got these little circles of both characters just staring at each other, and they're both getting embarrassed. They're getting red-faced a little bit, a little flushed. And the purple hair, I can't say that very well. Purple-haired woman says, "Are you a real redhead?" Ulysses cuts in, "I repeat, are you rectifying it?" And here's another one of those flowchart choice diagrams here. "Do your choices define you? Suppress anomaly. Yes, no." And then the lines are just bleeding off the page to get you to go to the next book, the next issue. So good. You really have to read the other issues, which I implore you to do. It turns out Teddy, basically it's love at first sight with this other woman. And if you haven't seen the cover to issue number 2 is just gorgeous. It shows the purple-haired woman whose name I've forgotten. Oh, basically Teddy calls her Anno, short for anomaly, because Anno is, I don't know, she's kind of a blank slate. Anyway, Teddy runs off with Anno. Like I said, she falls in love, I guess, which I find it very cute that this woman who has sworn off on those primitive feelings and falls in love, like I said, falls in love with this other woman, and they go off together, hiding from the authorities. Essentially, there is a subplot going on where these two guys who work for the same organization as Teddy are after her. Ulysses also joins the fight, so to speak, and hunts Teddy, basically trying to save Teddy from herself. There is a disastrous result of that in issue number 3, which I won't spoil, but you need to read it to get the full emotional impact of it. There's also, I have to warn you, this book is not for the young ones. Issue 3, there is a pretty graphic sex scene in it. Well, female parts are shown, I should say. But it just underscores how deep Teddy is into this new situation. I don't know what it is about me. After I got so much into Alex and Ada and that love story, and now I'm reading this and I'm getting the same sort of reaction to the Infinite Loop that I am with this, or with Alex and Ada. So I guess romance comics are something that need to make more of a comeback, I guess, for me. I just, like I said, I am just loving this book, mostly for the art, the inventiveness of the visuals, and of course the love story. So, man, I highly encourage you to check it out. Just beautiful. It's just a beautiful story, a beautiful book. So there you go. Okay, that's it. That's all I have for my independent publishers' first impressions episode. Please let me know if you're reading these books and what you think of them. Also, if there are any newer books that I have not mentioned in this episode or the last one, please let me know what you're reading that you find interesting or engaging in some way. And you can do that by emailing me at longboxreview@gmail.com, or you can tweet at me at longboxreview, or you can leave, as always, comments at the website longboxreview.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.